Ladies and gentlemen, I bring to you the political battle between Sammy Gyamfi.
Today's engagement, ladies and gentlemen, is simply intended to address a number of baseless allegations and deliberate falsehoods concerning the operations and financial health of the Ghana Gold Board that have been propagated by certain individuals.
Alexander Afenyo Markin.
And to those who are thinking that the Gold Board has not incurred any losses because they decided to use Bank of Ghana as its alter ego.
Alexander Afenyo Markin recently had allegations about a Gold Board that say Sammy Gyamfi edano as CEO. Ama Sammy Gyamfi abetutu bi ama na abusuafo emu nsem no era me person there ye do mo super aha authentic press studios make sure so be like you subscribe no share ama fofo nso enya bi ahwen ejebushafo Endra honorable Alexander Afenyo Markin ebe allege say Sammy Gyamfi achese oye Gold Board CEO. In fact, and ono as CEO krampo no wabebo man ne ka achese wo say ye investigate to na face no ye de ne fa embra kwan so.
Ladies and gentlemen of the press, this is a summary of the IMF report. After the bulky report, they came out with this, which is the selected issues dated August 2026. International Monetary Fund, IMF country report number 26/213. Those who are doing fact check. And it says, International Monetary Fund, Washington, D.C. This has been accepted by government, and government is acting on the concerns raised by the IMF. And to those who are thinking that the Gold Board has not incurred any losses because they decided to use Bank of Ghana as its alter ego. When I say alter ego, what I mean is that you use another institution to carry all your burdens on your behalf. So you appear clean. So you can conveniently say that the Auditor General has gone through your books and you do not have losses. But the losses were incurred by you. So how can you record profit and the cost is not incurred by you? Who does this? Anyway, the IMF says that, quote, in 2025, the significant scaling up of the domestic gold purchasing program operations led to losses of 1.67 billion US dollars, 1.5% of GDP, almost entirely related to the gold for reserve dot purchase. This amounted to a loss of 17% of the value of the dog gold sold by BOG. On whose behalf? Gold Board. This is here. It's here. It's there. Paragraph 13. Page 10. And ladies and gentlemen, we need to emphasize something. We, the minority, we work as a team. When the minority leader speaks, he speaks for the party. The party has a political committee we call the tripod. The flag bearer, who is the leader of our party, taking us to Jubilee, the party machinery and parliament. These three units work together with a policy coordinating chair, my respected colleague Kojo Oponkruma. We coordinate and speak with one voice. It doesn't matter who speaks. So when a matter is raised on policy, a chief executive of an institution cannot choose and single the leader out for insult. In the minimum, the caucus knows it brief and will not speak and blow hot air. That is the report I've shown you. So now the Ghanaian people will see who is ignorant, who is doing mischief, who is lying to the public. We will not just come out and say anything because of partisan convenience. What is happening is bad. There is crisis ahead of us. Our friends must better listen. and pay attention and not allow the IMF to rather come and talk to them before they listen. When things go bad in our country, it affects all of us. So we are here to hold their feet to the fire and make them accountable to the people of Ghana. We are not here to trade insults, and that must be clear to them.
Like we say, some video no better about. In fact, a lot of amount of people on social media about if that is the case, and there, omo percent, omo from or the saying Sammy Gyamfi about and seminar Alexander Afenyo Markin. And for some time now, Sammy Gyamfi after say or resume and I say after say you're appointing a CEO edema gold board. Sammy Gyamfi ankasa and shada and babontin and make kasa say ni say. But when quite Sammy Gyamfi is no, me respond. Now no energy Sammy Gyamfi babontin and obekasa what is the honorable Alexander Afenyo Markin. Kikan Sammy say wa bon mine ka as a CEO edema gold board no kikam. But opeso catch Alexander Afenyo Markin and after so Ghana for nyina ti say and man say honorable Alexander Afenyo Markin or the say board chairman edema ECG no. In fact, and on no time component ECG eboka almost 8.2 billion Ghana cedis. Now no component cash no at say or buy as or the say CEO edema or the say gold board now buy na. In fact, wabema or minor nyesika almost billions of dollars no. Or no mom elatis or babe catch and say Ghana for an asebia or minor action now face soon or prosecuting an asidi.
I'm jittery. Well, I believe you should know me better. My good brother Felix says something. He says politics is a contact sport. So when you are involved in politics, you are involved in boxing. You should be ready for tackles. You should be ready for punches. And some of us are vaccinated against political mischief. We've taken the vaccine, so we are not worried at all. But what I want to say is this. If the one under whose tenure as board chairman as ECG, where ECG recorded a loss of 8.2 billion, is not facing any onerous bail terms, and how can Sammy Gyamfi, under whose tenure the gold board has exported 170 tons of gold through former channels and brought into this country over 17 billion United States dollars in 1.5 years, face onerous bail terms? Under your tenure, not a gram of gold produced in Ghana was refined in Ghana. Today, over 9 metric tons just this year of gold we have bought refined in Ghana. We are changing the value addition story. So you see, such statements are reckless. They are what I call the fanciful efficiencies of a palm wine bar. You take it as comic relief. And it is very sad. You see, when we say this, he says we are not insulting him. This is somebody occupying a seat once occupied by the Venerable G.H. Mensah, the Venerable Papa Uzu Ankoma, or Seiche Mensah Bonsu. Look at the depth and the substance of these personalities. When they rose to speak on Parliament, look at the command they commanded across the aisle. And look at how this seat has now been so bastardized and depraved by a noisemaker who cannot even read and research and get his facts right. So I will go to prison in his brain, and I will have onerous bail terms in his brain. I'm not afraid of any intimidating tactics, because we are serving Ghana in good conscience, and our resource and posterity will speak for us. Thank you very much.
No, we are not say Sammy Gyamfi esa kase or pese honorable Alexander Afenyo Markin or point at reports ne babont ni baby IMF etrese onu Sammy Gyamfi wa ball mine ka almost a year 1.7 billion Ghana cedis. No see otimi pointed that particular figure na anase bia baby report no eka na onu akasa obeje ni mu e dia koma authorities na afenso no o ma deal with ono.
Challenge Afenyo Markin to point to any page, paragraph, sentence, phrase, or punctuation mark in the said reference reports of the IMF, where the gold board was accused by the IMF as the entity responsible for losses incurred by the Bank of Ghana. In summary, ladies and gentlemen, what the IMF report states is that Bank of Ghana incurred losses through the sale of gold under its domestic gold purchase program of $400 million in the year 2024 and $1.7 billion in the year 2025. And that the 2025 loss of $1.7 billion was as a result of, I'm quoting the IMF verbatim, the scaling up of the domestic gold purchase program, not incompetence or mismanagement. According to the IMF, that loss was as a result of the scaling up, the expansion of the program. The IMF also stated that these accounting losses partly reflect valuation effects. In particularizing what the IMF considers to be components of this loss, the IMF listed three things, which included fees paid to the gold board under the domestic gold purchase program. This is the true context within which the name of the gold board featured relative to losses under the DGPP in that reference IMF reports.
There was no chance Sammy Gyamfi esa ba bonten address the whole issue. A kwan of fast so as a gold board ebe mo mine sika and afenso na kwan as say gold board e faso e mine gold e wo Ghana ha say and afenso na kwan of faso or ton gold and the amount of sika say gold board ama o mine.
Today's engagement, ladies and gentlemen, is simply intended to address a number of baseless allegations and deliberate falsehoods concerning the operations and financial health of the Ghana Gold Board that have been propagated by certain individuals in recent times. Of particular concern is a persistent campaign of lies being waged by one Alexander Afenyo Markin and his ilk against the Gold Board over the past couple of months. This sustained, relentless campaign reached a reckless crescendo yesterday at a press conference addressed by him within the precincts of Parliament. Afenyo Markin's modus operandi, which can no longer be allowed to go unanswered, is to repeat the same tired falsehoods as often as possible and on many platforms as he can, in the hope that repetition will somehow transform fiction into facts and mislead unsuspecting members of the public. The Gold Board therefore deems it necessary that the record be set straight once and for all to prevent him and others like him from continuing to distort the remarkable performance and transformational impact of the Ghana Gold Board. First, ladies and gentlemen, Afenyo Markin and his followers alleged on several occasions on the floor of Parliament and in the media that the Gold Board made losses in its gold trade operations in the year 2025. This claim is a barefaced lie, which has been debunked time without number by the Gold Board. The audited annual reports and financial statements of the Gold Board for the year ended December 31st, 2025, prepared and published by the Auditor General of Ghana, discloses an operational surplus of 907 million Ghana cedis and an overall surplus of profit of 5.4 billion Ghana cedis. This is an incontrovertible fact. And today, to settle this matter once and for all, I brought to this auditorium a copy of the annual report and financial statements of the Gold Board, prepared and published by the Auditor General, not Sammy Gyamfi and the Gold Board. We don't audit ourselves. Now, if you check page 12 of this report, you will see that the Gold Board on its own, from its own operations, generated total revenue of close to 1 billion Ghana cedis and kept expenditure just around 109 million Ghana cedis. And so that is what we mean by operational profit or surplus of 907 million. It means that if you took all the revenue we generated as an organization and you deducted our expenditure from it, we had 907 million left. Now, because in the 2025 budget statement, government budgeted a revolving seed capital as its equity for the newly established gold board of 4.5 billion Ghana cedis, which monies hit our accounts on or about 30th of December 2025. Those funds had to be added to the revenue of the gold board because they were not encumbered, they were not depleted, they were not dissipated. And that is why the overall surplus is 5.4 billion. And this reporting was done by the Auditor General under what is known as EXPOSES guidelines. And the chartered accountants and auditors understands this very well. So we brought 50 copies and we are going to distribute to you the audited financials of the gold board for 2025 as prepared and published by the Auditor General of Ghana, which puts to rest the false claim that the gold board has been making losses.
It is somebody a chance Honorable Alexander Afenyo Markin be babontin abekasa say bia near Sammy Gyamfi beka no ayampa anase bia nyampa. Ebuso betwa leave you comment or comment section ase. Aha authentic making sure so be like subscribe we anu ahye amafofo nso nya bi.